Hello everybody, I currently have £10,000 to spend on my next car, and fortunately for me, it's a buyer's market, particularly when you're talking about the types of cars that we love on this channel. Cars with rear seats and big engines. I'm talking 8 cylinders and above engines. You're not gonna believe how much of this type of car you can get for your money at the moment. Come on, let's get into it. My name's Ben and you're watching Dadcars Trading Down Series.
Daddy, you're silly.
For the benefit of those who are new, we started this YouTube channel with the Aston Martin Dad B9 and then traded down to the Maserati Grand Sport. The plan for the next car was sub £15,000. But for those of you who don't know, running a YouTube channel full time, an automotive one, is very expensive. So unfortunately, we've got to skip the sub £15,000 step and go straight to £10,000 or less. And just for the record, I am genuinely using all of that money that I originally had in the Aston to fund this channel. An automotive channel for parents. But fortunately for us and this series, 15-plus-year-old depreciated performance cars that are expensive to run are at an all-time low. And there's a reason for this. I mean, me and my friend James JM on Cars, we predicted this last year, because of interest rates going up and then that putting a squeeze on everything else in life as well, rents and mortgages. People don't have as much disposable income. And when you sit down with your wife and your abacus and you try to make all of the beans count, the first thing on the chopping block is going to be your ridiculous performance car, isn't it? And then there aren't as many buyers for them either because somebody's mortgage went up last month and someone else's fixed terms coming to an end in a couple of months. And I'll tell you what, stick around to the second half of this video and I'll call JM live on this video and ask him what he thinks I should buy for sub £10,000. So let me show you some of the tantalising depreciated bargains that you can get right now for £10,000. And we're going to kick things off with the most commented and suggested car in the comment section by you guys. And that is a Jag XFR. And yeah, look, sub £10,000. I mean, look, there's one here, 4,750. It's obviously something wrong with that. Yeah, it has a misfire cosmetic problem. So we'll discount that. But you got one there for sub 8, one there for sub 9. And oh, look at this one. Obviously, these are the pre-facelift ones. The facelift, they got sort of more modern, nice looking lights on the front. But that's still a stunning, menacing looking car, isn't it? Oh, look at that. And Dadcars logo blue as well. With the Jaguar supercharged 5-litre V8 producing over 500, yeah, look, it's 510 PS. Come on, tell me that's not tempting for sub £10,000. Can you get a facelift one for 10,000? Look, a little over £10,000, 11,500. You could get a facelift one. Now the next one on the list is an incredibly tempting Maserati, which I put on my stories recently, and loads of people were messaging me about. But first, just quickly, I think it's safe to say that on my next car, I am 100% going to have to do a car vertical check on it first, aren't I? I need to make sure that it doesn't have a hidden pass, because at this age and price point, I've got to say the chances are pretty high, and I would not want to put my children in a car which had a hidden pass. So look at this, for example. As many of you know, an XJ Super Sport was top of my list if I had sub £15,000, but even at £10,000, you can see, thanks to Car Vertical, that this one is not a car that you would want to buy. Look, airbag deployed there as well. And running a Car Vertical check on your next car purchase will also tell you if it's been stolen, if the mileage all stacks up. It checks financial and legal status, and look, even shows some maintenance history here, as well as, look, this car was actually involved in 2 crashes and was an insurance write-off. So I know if you or I saw this car up for sale, even for £10,000, we'd know that this is one to avoid. And I'm so excited to say that Car Vertical are now sponsoring the Dadcars channel. How cool is this? So if you use the promo code Dadcars, you can save yourself 20% off the next time you need to do a Car Vertical check. Look, you wouldn't buy a second-hand child seat and put your children in it, would you? Because you don't know what the history is. So don't buy a family car without running a Car Vertical check on it first. Use promo code Dadcars. Right, let me show you these Maseratis that caught my eye. So the first one is this, Maserati Quattroporte, but it's a 4.7S. Look, £12,250. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's not £10,000 or less, is it? But these cars aren't fast sellers, are they? I mean, I'm ready to go today, but equally, I'm not in a massive rush. I have got this bad boy at the moment. They haven't time to tie me over. So I'm ready to be fully open to all possibilities. And then when a good car comes up at a good price, I'll jump on it. But regardless, even if it's £12,000 for 4.7, look how beautiful these cars are. This has got only 3 owners as well. Look, you've got contrast red stitching there. Glorious, glorious cars. Look, the other Maserati that's jumped out at me is this 4.7 Gran Turismo S for £12,500. Now, admittedly, the mileage is just over 100,000 miles. Only got 4 owners though. He says that the only issue is a couple of weeks ago, transmission warning light came on, only for a few seconds, but it's fine. And funnily enough, I mean, it was a transmission warning that I had on my car. It just so happened to be that, you know, the F1 fluid was low. But God, honestly, I swear it was like 18 months ago when the bottom of the market for a 4.7 Gran Turismo was like double that. So God, it is so crazy how much car you can get for the money. How much could you get a 4.2 for? Let's have a look. God, there is a 4.2 litre Gran Turismo up for sale, similar mileage to that last one, for £7,000. Wow. Does this say that it's broken? According to the description, it said it could just do with some TLC, but God blimey, look at that. £7,000 is now the bottom of the Gran Turismo market. That's wild, isn't it? But it is true and worth pointing out though that if you bought like the bottom of the market, Gran Turismo, it could quite easily throw you like a £10,000 bill in the first 6 months. So you obviously got to take it with a pinch of salt. Right now, let's move away from Maseratis and onto Mercedes. And this is a perfect segue because recently had an E63 on the channel. Admittedly, it was a remapped one and it had over 700 horsepower. But oh my goodness, blew me away for excitement. It was incredible. So for £10,000, you should be able to get yourself an exciting V8 AMG Mercedes. And this has been another suggestion that many of you have been making. So let's have a little look now. Right, let's just do it by engine size. So let's say what, from 5.5 litres. And speaking of E-classes there, look, for under £7,000, you could get an E500. But how about an S500? Look at this one, £7,500, 107,000 miles. See, that to me is a very attractive proposition. I think my little pickles would love driving around for 6 months in the back of an S-Class. It's a shame that most Mercedes have just all black interiors. It's a bit boring. Let's keep looking. Oh, right. Okay, we got a spicy sausage here. What about a CLS 63? £10,250, over 500 brake horsepower. Admittedly, this one's got 120,000 miles, but come on, that is ever so tempting. Ever so tempting, isn't it? Let's have a look at the rear seats. Yeah, see, so look, it's a 4-seater, but I reckon I could get at least my 3 across in the back of that, if not a 4 across child seat. Right, what about this? And apparently it's higher priced because of the mileage, I'm sure, but look, 162,000 miles. But this is a pre-facelift E63 with the 6.2 litre naturally aspirated engine. I really want to try one of these, but it's £11,500. And look, going by it saying that it's higher priced there, surely they should be open to an offer as well. Could I find one of these for £10,000? Oh, I have to say, honestly, I really did fall in love with that E63 that we had on the channel recently. Let's have a look at its black interior, which, yeah, it's a black interior. Oh, this one doesn't have a timepiece there. And obviously being pre-facelift, the gear selector isn't as nice as well. But right, so while on the surface, this is a crazy high mile car that no one would ever buy, right? But look, I proved with the recent Maserati Grand Sport that I had that regardless, if you've got a car which is very well looked after, you know, that Grand Sport, I bought it off of JM. He took incredible care of it. Spent a lot of money on that car just before I took it as well to make sure that it was a really good car for me. But it had just stacks and stacks and stacks of history. And so it was incredibly reliable and a really nice, pleasurable experience me owning and driving that car. So I would never, going forward, rule out a really high mile car as long as it's got really good history. And you know, you're buying it off of somebody who's clearly really looked after it in recent years. So I would 100%, putting out there right now, buy an E63 for £10,000, even if it had high miles, if it was a well looked after car. So if anyone's got one and they're about to trade it in and the dealer's just offered them like £9,500, £10,000, please get in touch with me and I'll buy it off of you. And speaking of JM, let's call him now and see what he thinks I should buy for £10,000. Hello?
This is the JM. Speak peasant.
Hi James, you are live on the, well, not live, you're live on the Dadcars channel, please do not swear.
Dang it.
I've got one question for you, James. What's the most exciting dad car that you think I should buy right now for £10,000? What's your pick?
All right, it's a toss-up between two.
Okay,
One of which is the Jaguar S-Type R.
okay. S-Type
And the
RJ.
other, yeah, I like the S-Type R. It's a cool car. You comfortably get one for 10 grand. That gives you room to spare.
Yeah,
Because you know I like the XJ, and I know you like the XJ, but the shape you're looking at, that kind of money, you might not get a really good one.
okay.
And the alternative, this is a bit left field, but I know you've really gotten bitten by the Italian bug lately, and I think you should try and find an Alfa Romeo 159 with the 3.2 litre V6.
Okay. Yeah, 159. I can picture the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful cars. I mean, it's that or a Brera, but the 159 is more practical. Brera is easier to find with that engine, but they're awesome, good to look at outside and in, and I'd like to see more content on them on YouTube.
We need to get you on a Dadcars channel for another video soon. It's been too long, I think.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, nice one. Cheers, James.
Bye.
Bye. Right, so let's now have a look at James's selections. A Jag S-Type R. Right, so we've got one here with 50,000 miles on the clock, 2005, for just 6,750. And I've got to agree with James, that does look like quite a nice proposition, doesn't it? There's only one picture though. And to go with the one picture, there is a one-line description as well. But yeah, I mean, on the surface, oh, they're 400 horsepower as well. Yeah, that's nice. Let's have a look at closer to 10,000. Okay, so for £9,450, you can get yourself a nicotine-stained silver Jaguar S-Type R. I joke, but I've always wanted a Porsche 944 in this colour. I just think that they look really cool. So that this is one owner car. That's a bit nicer there. It tells you a little bit more about the car. Let's have a look at the interior. Oh, wow. It's got a black and red interior. So that red interior with that external colour, to me, just doesn't go. This kind of says, you know, boy racer spec, and then that says full on granddad spec, doesn't it? So, right, so that's James's first suggestion. Let's have a look at his Alfa Romeo suggestion. The 159, he said 3.2, didn't he? So there's only one 3.2 for sale on Auto Trader at the moment, and it's an imported vehicle, but it's £10,000. And before we look any further at this car, the reason I'm not looking at Alfa Romeos for sub £10,000 is they're all front wheel drive, and for me, you know, if I can get something that's got a V8 and it's rear wheel drive, that's always going to be like my preference. So I really do need to drive one of these. If anybody's got one, please get in touch. Let's have a look at that lovely V6 Busso engine. Yeah, so it's not as pretty as the earlier ones, you know, like the chrome effect. But oh yeah, look at the interior. That's very nice indeed. Oh, this is an auto. That's a shame. I think if I was going to go for a V6 Alfa Romeo front wheel drive, I think I would want it to have 3 pedals and a manual gearbox. But that's very nice, isn't it? Very lovely. We would definitely own an Alfa Romeo at some point, but you know, potentially for the sub £5,000 step, the next one, an Alfa Romeo. But yeah, we need to get one of those on the channel. But here is my big wild pick. What do you think of this? Imagine the Dadcars Trading Down series went from an Aston Martin to a Maserati to a Bentley. Are you with me? Let me show you what cars you could get. What Bentley you could buy for £10,000. Now you might be thinking, oh yeah, Continental GT, but in actual fact for me, I far prefer the idea and looks of a Bentley Continental Flying Spur with 4 doors. Because look here, we do have one for sub £10,000, asking price. There's another one here, a little over £10,000. Another there for 12, 12 and a half, 13, 13, 13. So I think it's safe to say that I could get Continental Flying Spur for £10,000 or less. And this one here I know has been up for a very, very long time because I've actually featured this exact car in a previous video. But let's have a look at the interior. Obviously we have done a later generation Flying Spur on the channel before and I absolutely loved it. That is a lot of car for your money. And rear seats, yeah. So these came in a 4-seat option and a 5-seat option. I would want a 5-seat one, just because it'll open things up for child seats with me and make my life a lot easier. For example, look at this 4-seater one here, which recently sold on Collecting Cars. I was actually watching this auction, which ended just days after I actually sold my Maserati. And look, this Continental Flying Spur with just 44,000 miles in seemingly wonderful condition, sold for 9,600. So just a little tiny bit over £10,000, including their buyer's fee. I would have placed a bid on this if it was a 5-seater model. Look how beautiful, how much car for the money somebody got with this. Incredible. And I know the Continental GTs have attracted the wrong buyers in recent years because they've been so cheap for so long as well. But a 4-door Flying Spur I think is far less likely to have had a previous owner that, you know, has been ragging it around and wrapped it in like a matte luminous green goppingly horrible wrap and deferred a load of maintenance. You know, I think a Flying Spur is much more of a gentleman's car, isn't it? Before we move on from Bentley, let me just really quickly show you an absolute peach of a car, which unfortunately I can't afford, but I saw it. It's such a wonderful spec. It's a Bentley Arnage. Oh, look just how incredible the spec is on this. Look. Externally, lovely, classy, timeless silver, but internally, look, it's bright red. Oh, God, I love a bright red interior. And for me, having that colour combination on a Bentley Arnage, look at that piano black. Oh, the piano black on these Arnages look just insane. Oh, come on, how special is that? And I know my friend Joe would call this dog's lipstick red. And if you've got a boy dog, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about there. But oh, to me, maybe it's just as well that I don't have £15,000 to spend on the next car, because I probably would buy that. Please somebody buy it and bring it to me to review. And a seamless segue from Bentleys is to this, what many people would call a poor man's Bentley, a Chrysler 300C. Now, a few people have sent this car through to me, and I have to say, if I was going to get one of these, I would go for the estate just because it's a bit more wacky. £8,500, and it's got the mighty Hemi V8 in it as well. That is menacing looking, isn't it? That'd be a hell of a lot of fun. Oh, I'd love to drive this. Let's have a look at the rear seats. Yeah, I'd be able to get loads of child seats in there. But I have to admit, if I had a 300C and a Bentley Continental Flying Spur both in front of me, and they were both £10,000, I'd go for the Bentley. I don't know, what about you? What would you go for? As we're starting to come to the end of this video, I think I'm running out of battery. Let's just talk about some of the more obvious options, like Audi, for example. I can't help it, but since driving a C6, C7 RS6, I can't get RS6 out of my head. And it'd be possible to get a C5 for £10,000. Look, there's this one up here, 100,000 miles, £10,500. And it would come down to whether it's a well kept for, well looked after example. You know, if it's got a gearbox fault or problem, you know, you could easily just chuck another £4,000 to the top of that asking price, couldn't you? But I'd love to try one of those. Unfortunately, the C6, which is the one that I would want to buy, if I had 15 grand, I'll probably be sat in a C6 RS6 with a beautiful V10 right now. Look, a car like this, oh, look, it's a Dadcars logo blue as well. 14,900, 112,000 miles. I would buy one of these in an absolute heartbeat. That engine is so special. God, honestly, if you've never driven one of these, you've got to try it. They are amazing. BMWs, there are so many BMWs that, you know, amazing cars you can buy for £10,000, particularly if you're not being, you know, an M snob. If you're willing to go for the lesser models. But part of the reason why I started this whole YouTube channel was just so that I could go for the brave pills, go for the crazy cars. And for me, I would love an M5, you know, E39 M5. It's not going to happen. You know, I'm going to have to wait until I'm traded back up again. But I would buy an E60. But again, even if you could get an E60 M5 for £10,000, you wouldn't want to buy it, surely. But I did find this little peach, an E93 M3 with a 4-litre V8. And this is a manual. Look, 119,000 miles, and it's up for 11,999. So, look, again, that's with a dealer. You know, so presumably someone Part X'd that in, probably took, what, 9,500 for it? You know, I could have bought that. But yeah, I could go on for hours doing this, but look, I think I've demonstrated it's crazy value here in the UK at the moment for these types of cars. And it is for those reasons that, you know, I laid out. Who knows, with a new government coming in, I'm not going to get political, by the way, they might want to sort of make it feel like everything's good and rosy. Maybe they could put in some quantitative easing measures, or, you know, try to help like the interest rates or something. So I don't know, how long is this real low point going to last for? I do think that these types of cars, if like me, you like big engine cars that have got rear seats, you know, these really have bottomed out at the moment. So it is a fantastic time to be a buyer. But you've heard what I'd quite like to buy. You've heard what JM thinks I should buy. I want to hear what you think I should buy. Honestly, I love it when in these videos people flood to the comment sections. I sit down on evenings that these videos go out with the popcorn and just sort of read through all of the suggestions in the comments. So please hit the comments below. A massive thank you once again to Car Vertical for sponsoring the Dadcars Trading Down series. How exciting is this? Remember to use promo code Dadcars when you do your next Car Vertical search. What brave pill Dadcar will I end up with at this time of recording? I genuinely do not know, and it could happen any moment. So subscribe to find out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.